some Zoom basics. I'm going to go through the basic setup. So if you want to host a meeting, this is how you do it. And I'll whiz through some of the features of the free version. I'm really conscious that at this time when markets can be a bit slow and business is a bit slow, that you might not want to be spending a lot of money or even any money if you can help it, and there are free versions out there that might just serve the purposes that you need. I'll record the session as I mentioned, and I'll send you the recording afterwards if you need to catch up on anything. But let's get cracking. So hopefully you can see my screens. I just want to whiz through with you some basics. If you have got a question, there's a chat button at the bottom. Feel free to click that and type your questions in. I'll run through some of the basics and then come back to the questions because I might well answer them for you as we go along. And so, a bit of Zoom admin and housekeeping, and I recommend you make a note of these and try and get your delegates to follow them as well. Try and find quiet areas and check your backgrounds. I've had some very spurious backgrounds going on this week, so just make sure it's something fairly innocuous, let's say. And if you're connecting from home, not everybody has got the luxury of fibre optic broadband at the moment, so you can experience a few glitches. A couple of ways around that is if you've got phones and iPads and various other devices hooked up to your Wi-Fi, if you can turn as many of them off as possible, that really helps. And if it gets really glitchy, if you can switch your cameras off as a participant, that will help the webinar run smoothly. Obviously, if you're a host, you can't really turn your video off. Grab a drink and get comfy, and we will be making this session interactive. So I really want to hear from you. If there's anything particularly you're struggling with that I haven't covered, please do let me know. I'm more than happy to answer those questions. If you can, wherever you can, try and use a headset. It just saves on a lot of feedback during the meeting. And try and be as still as you can on the screen, especially as a host, because it can be quite distracting if you've got lots of movement going on or lots of movement in the background. They're really good habits to get into. And I'll be showing you how to use and get your delegates to use the interaction buttons. They're really good for getting feedback, for building the energy in your group, because I'm all about not really doing a broadcast necessarily and just telling people what they want to hear, but really hearing from your delegates and clients as to what they need in the session. And today, there's me saying don't move, I've got to plug my laptop in. Today we're going to run through just a couple of basics around using Zoom. How to actually set up your first meeting or schedule a meeting, the key buttons inside the platform, and then just to make sure that you're saving your interactions in the right place. So let me show you first. I will switch my screens and show you some setup. Bear with me. Bear with me 1 second. Let me just show you my screen that I've got set up in the back here. So hopefully you can now see a Zoom screen. Can I get a thumbs up just to check that you can see the Zoom screen? Awesome. So when you originally start in Zoom, you'll see just a general, really generic basic Zoom welcome page. I want you to click on this button in the top corner here, and that's your account button. And that's going to take you to your dashboard. And this is where you are going to host all of your sessions from. You can create new sessions. And yeah, it's really awesome. Who have we got in the chatting? I've got Anne. And if you check that your speakers are turned up to the max and potentially plug some headphones in. If you're on an Apple device, I've had a few problems today with people on Apple that they can hear when they've got headphones plugged in, but they can't hear when they've not got headphones plugged in. So maybe give that a whirl, and if not, I'll send you the recording anyway, and don't worry too much. So from this Zoom main screen, this is where you're going to set your meetings up from. I recommend you jump into the profile section and add a picture of your face, just so if your video does cut out, people have got something to look at and you're instantly recognizable. Now you can quick schedule a meeting by hitting that schedule meeting button just at the top there. Obviously, give your name, your meeting a name, and give it something fairly significant to your client, something that they're going to remember, because this might auto-populate into their calendars. So it's really important that you're clear on that and what the meeting is about so they can remember. Super easy to find your date and time scheduling. Now, if you're on the paid version, this is where one of the limitation comes in. If you're speaking to one other person, so it's just me and you, Jane, for example, we've got unlimited time on Zoom. If you want to invite another person in, or you want to do this in a group setting, you only get 40 minutes. Now, for some people, that's absolutely fine. If you wanted to do a group workout session and you wanted them all to have their cameras on so you can check their form, or you want to see what they're doing, or you might want to have a team meeting, for example, as long as 40 minutes is enough, stay with the free version. If you need more than 40 minutes, then you might have to upgrade to the paid version, which is at the moment is $11.99 a month. But for most people, one-to-ones, especially if you're a consultant, the free version should be enough. A couple of little things to make you aware of. Every person that has a Zoom account has a personal meeting ID number just here. So that's specific to me. Always make sure you're generating your meetings automatically. That gives it a random number and means that if someone types in that meeting number, it's specific to that meeting that you've set up. You're not going to get some random faces popping up during your meeting with your mum or with your friends. So try to generate your numbers automatically. This requiring meeting password has been causing some controversy this week. If I'm setting up a meeting for clients, I don't tend to request that they require a meeting password. However, if you're setting a meeting up for kids potentially, and you want to be super careful about who is in the room and somebody can't accidentally guess the room number, I would suggest using the password. It just makes it extra secure and means that the only people you're going to have in the room are people that you've sent the link and the password to. So it's just a bit of extra security. I like to have my videos on automatically because I like to see you all and I like to be able to see all your faces. But I do ask that participants are muted on entry. So the idea of setting these things up in the background and when you're scheduling your meeting just means you've pre-done some of the admin. You don't have to worry about when you open up your meeting, muting people as they join you or unmuting people as they join you. You've done it in the setup sequence. It's already all done. And all you do is hit save. Yeah, let's go ahead and show you where that will pop up. When you then go into your meetings section, it will show you all of the meetings that you've preset. So for example, today's one, let's go into Thursday's session and I'll just show you what you need. So you can automatically add it to a calendar if you've got those integrations set. The bit that you need to send to your participants is this bit here. Now you can just copy and paste that into WhatsApp, into a text or into your own email system. As long as they've got that link, they don't have to have a Zoom account. Just by clicking on that, like maybe today, if you've never used Zoom before, just clicking that link will download the software to their device and allow them to log straight in. So that's the only real part you actually need. Good question, Simon. And the difference between the paid version and the non-paid version is in the paid version, you only get 40 minutes with any more than 2 people. In the paid version, you get unlimited and up to 100 people on any one call. That's the largest difference. And I want to just show you very quickly what the difference is around saving. So while you're in this section, and this will be part of your homework, is to get familiar with this area. I want you to have a look at meetings. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. Sorry, I'm losing the plot. So in your settings, these are kind of like your master and default settings. So I'll get you to flick around in here as part of your homework and get familiar with some of the things that are in here. But I also want you to take a look at recording. And I want you to make sure that you can have a local recording. So if you're in the free version, this will automatically load to your computer or your device. It will open a file and automatically save for you. And I'll show you what that looks like. I prefer not to have participants being able to record locally, because this is, potentially it's your IP, it's your information that you're sharing with people. And if I want to share the recording, I'll send it to them afterwards. With the paid version, which I'm showing you at the moment, I have access to a really large piece of cloud storage. So for the free version, if you're just going to do a couple of meetings a week, send the slide on and not too much else, you'll be absolutely fine with local recording. With the paid version, you get a huge chunk of cloud storage for free. So a lot of my recordings, because I'm doing probably 4 hours worth a day, that will jam up my laptop really, really quickly. So I prefer to use the cloud recording, and then I know that everything's safe. But if you're using the free version and you're not using it too regularly, local recording should be enough. Again, if you choose that you do need more, it's $11.99 a month at the moment, and you can just add that on, and this feature will become available to you. So what does it look like when you have saved into the cloud? Let me show you that now. You can see my lovely screen, my lovely boys. Let me show you this file coming in. So in my documents, which I have, which is just a normal hard drive, I have a folder that is listed as documents and Zoom. This is pre-populated. As soon as you click the button that you want to record, this is automatically in here. You click on your file, and this is what you will see. So the playback file is the one that you need to use if you want to send this to anybody else. You can save your chat, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment as well. And if you want to send it as audio only, or you maybe want to use your Zoom call as a podcast at a later date, you can just strip the audio off it, and you've just got that as a function as well. But the playback one is the one that you really need, that will replay the whole thing, and you can send to other people, and you'll all get a little bit later. Is everyone okay with that so far? I'm getting some nodding. Great, awesome. Let me switch screens. And come back over here. So we're back in with the presentation. There's some key features that you need to have a look at while you're in the main page. And this is what you will see a lot of these as a participant right now. And I always recommend using Zoom. Use Zoom on a laptop, because you get better functionality if you're going to host, but it's okay if you want to use an iPad as a participant. It's not a problem at all. So you have a button somewhere along the top which you can switch between gallery view, where you'll see everybody in the meeting as little tiles, and the person speaking will be highlighted as yellow. Or you can have speaker view, which is what I encourage people to use. So when you share a screen, it's you speaking that they see, and then the screen that's being shared side by side. Feel free to take a screenshot of this page if you want to, but I will send it to you as well, because it's quite a nice one to send out to your delegates if they've never used Zoom before. So some of you will be able to, some of you won't have these windows open on the right hand side. I would advise you as a host to get them open as quickly as possible. You will see the chat button and a participants button. Open up those two and you'll see the same as me, she says, hopefully, and you'll get the participants will be at the top and the Zoom group will be at the bottom. Everyone with me so far? To make your groups super interactive, get your delegates to start using these buttons. You can say things like, how is everybody doing? Would you like me to go through that again? And if everybody clicks the yes button, you know you've got to go back through that. If they click no, then you know that you're good to go. So it's a good way of getting everybody in the room to interact quite quickly. You click on that more function, you'll also get a thumbs up, thumbs down, you'll get requests for a cup of tea. Unfortunately, you don't get one delivered, but you can judge people and whether they need a bit of a break, whether everybody's had enough of the session. I'll leave this screen in the slide deck that I'll send over to you. But it's I would recommend as soon as you host the session, you open up your Manage Participants button and you open up your chat button and have them running just along the bottom side, and then you can see what's going on all the time. These buttons on the left bottom corner are super useful. Thanks for the thumbs up, Chris. Super useful, and you can get people to play with their audio and visual settings by clicking on these little arrows. And then you've got the ability to mute, unmute, start video and stop video. I will send you this slide because it's super handy to have. Somebody asked me about how do you share a screen? So like I've just done in a demo function, how do you go about sharing your screen? All of you as participants, I think I've allowed you to do it. You should be able to see a green share screen button in the bottom of your toolbar. Please don't press it. Please don't press it right now. But you as a host hits that button and you get this pop-up in the center. And this pop-up allows you to share your main screen, which I imagine most of you will be on just one screen. Or you can share a particular app. So I could, in theory, just share the PowerPoint with you, so you don't see everything else that I've got going on in the background. But for now, whilst you're still learning and still practicing, just go ahead and click screen 1 when you're hosting your webinars, and then you can share the screen that's in front of you. All of the Zoom disappears into the background, so your delegates won't be able to see your Zoom platform. They'll only be able to see the app that you're currently working on, or the presentation, or the diagrams that you're currently sketching. Great function. So things that I'd like you to start taking away from today is to start by setting up a practice session. Set up a practice meeting. Go ahead into your dashboard, set up a session, if it's with a friend or partner. Set up a session and send them the link so that they can log on, even if it's in the next room, just so you can get the hang of, oh, I've got hiccups, so they can get the hang of setting up the functionality and saving. I want you to go ahead on your dashboard and have a look through the settings that you can play with. Have a look at how you can auto set up to record, and just play around and test. So run a 2-minute webinar and just see where on your desktop that goes to. Where does it save to? And check that you know where the files are going. I'm going to send you, after the end of this series, so we've got today, tomorrow and Thursday as the full series, I'm going to send you some cheat sheets. So I'll send you a host checklist, so things that you need to make sure you've done before the meeting, things that you need to make sure that you tick off in the first 5 minutes of a meeting, and things that you need to do afterwards to make sure that you're mopping up your content. I'll send that over to you, and I'll also send you a cheat sheet that you can send through to your guests or your delegates, so you make sure that they get the best out of the meeting as well, and they can get prepped ahead of schedule. Things like making sure they've got a clear background, making sure that they've switched everything else off the Wi-Fi, making sure they've got headphones in, and that really sets the tone and makes it certainly seem like you know what you're doing when it comes to webinars and Zoom calls. And I really want to reiterate to you that it's okay if it doesn't go to plan. Even at the best of times, things will go wrong and technology will drop out and it will be super glitchy. It's okay. It's okay if it doesn't go right, and you're interacting with people face to face. It is live, and definitely all the people that I've worked with have certainly understood. You can always reset. If you're just speaking one-to-one, it's really easy to say, you know what, this link isn't working for us right now. Let's close it down. I'll send you a new link and let's start again. It takes 5 minutes, and it's absolutely okay to do that. And push comes to shove, like I think we've lost poor Anne because her sound isn't working. We'll just send her the recording afterwards, so I can carry on, I can keep delivering, and I can send her everything afterwards, and she's still going to get that value, she's still going to get that information, and if she's got questions she can always come back and follow up. So it's okay if things aren't going well. If you have no idea how to use Zoom but you want to run a mass webinar tomorrow, my biggest advice would be to get help. If you're going to run a Zoom meeting with more than about 10 people, I would advise getting somebody on as a co-host, and that's a function you can assign, and I'll go through that tomorrow. Get someone as a co-host to run your chat group for you, to manage your participants, so you can just be the person delivering the content. You can focus on what you need to say and the content you need to share, and the other person can see the participant screen, can make sure that people are muted, unmuted, and they can let you know what to do next. Jane, you've got your hand up. Do you want to unmute yourself for this question? I'm impressed.
Oh, check me out. I'm all over it. On it like a car bonnet, mate. I've got one question. I've been on these Zoom calls before, and sometimes the number that the code that you've got to use doesn't work, and all of a sudden the host of the meeting has sent out a new code to people. Is that easy to do?
Yeah, it's literally as easy as setting up a new meeting in your dashboard. Set up a new meeting, schedule it. Automatically it will say for now. Just hit that button and that meeting code will automatically generate.
Oh, so brilliant.
You'll get that pop up. It literally takes 30 seconds.
Brilliant.
If you need to do it on the fly, it's super easy.
Brilliant. As I say, I have been a sort of a participant of meetings before. You put that code in and it doesn't work, and everyone's panicking, and you can see your WhatsApp group going potty because people can't get into the meeting, and then all of a sudden a new code is generated, and that was my question. Just, it's obviously easy to do then, yes?
Yeah, absolutely is. And actually I will do a quick, at the end of this, we'll leave the recording running once everybody's left the room, and I'll do that on this, so you should be able to see it, how quick it is to set a meeting. So it's super fast to do, not a problem at all.
Thanks, Lorna. I'll mute myself again, but yeah, that's answered that question. Thank you.
No problem at all. Simon had a question earlier asking, is there a time limit to the recordings? On the free version, I think it's as long, if you're just speaking to one person, it's as long as you're on the call for. On the paid version, I ran a 6-hour session yesterday and it recorded the entire lot. I would advise chunking that down into pieces, because actually uploading that to anything is really difficult. So we actually broke it down. And I will be doing it tomorrow for a workshop that I'm doing. We'll be taking regular breaks, and at the end of every break I've stopped the recording. I've archived that and then come back and done another recording again. I'll happily go through that in Thursday's session, which is the advanced session. I'm just writing that down. If you do want to repurpose the content, it can be a pain if it's an enormous file. About an hour tends to upload to YouTube in about 10 minutes, depending on.
I just thought I would get a recording yesterday, and it was a 3-hour session, and then he did 2.5, which is really annoying. So I just wondered if there was a file size limit or a time limit.
Are you saving to your laptop, or are you saving to the cloud?
No, I was saved to my computer. Mac.
So it might well be that your computer's decided enough's enough. That's a big enough file.
Yeah, I just wanted, because it's almost 2 gig. I just wondered if it was yeah, it's a bit of a bummer, really, having to last half hour of the session.
Yes, yeah. And it wouldn't be the first time that I've recorded the last 20 minutes of a session to myself and sent that out as an additional recording piece. It can be frustrating. The one thing I wanted to show you very quickly, and it's a good thing to get in the habit of doing, let me just share this again. In this chat box that you should all be able to see, just checking that you can see it, yep. In the bottom corner, there's 3 little dots. If you click those 3 little dots, you have the option to save the chat. As a host, you have the option to save the chat. If it's a really interactive session and people are asking lots of questions or they're asking for things to follow up, I always make sure that I hit that save chat button every 10 minutes. I have had it should save automatically, but I have had it this week where it didn't save automatically and I only got the first section of the chat and not the really good juicy questions at the end. So it's a good habit to get into, hitting that button and saving the chat reasonably regularly. Are there any other questions that you would like answered, or are you okay for the time being? No other questions coming through at the moment. Angelica, you're absolutely right. It is free for one person, so you and another, unlimited, but anything over you and another, it's paid for. Excellent. Okay, well, I said it would be about half an hour and we are 1 minute under, so that's absolutely perfect. I'll send this recording out to everybody that's registered. I'll send it out as soon as I can get it uploaded. And tomorrow I'll be covering some of the paid functions. We'll be looking at things like whiteboards, what have I got on my list? Repurposing, reaction buttons, and how to really build engagement and interaction with those, but also about how to plan your webinars, how to focus them and really make them useful to your particular market, so you don't get lost in the sound of everybody that's jumping online, that you're really appealing to your target clients. I will leave you in peace. Have a wonderful afternoon and I will speak to you all soon. Thanks very much.